Well, welcome everyone with this great joy today as we come here today to celebrate the marriage of Brandon Gartland and Ann Brennan. And it is with great joy that they invite you to share in this day of happiness as they pledge their marriage vows and exchange their rings in our presence. We are very blessed to witness their bond of love. It is a reminder of God's action in our own lives and a witness to the generosity of which we are called to be for one another. And so in the presence of the church, I ask you to state your intentions. Brandon and Ann, have you come here to enter into marriage without coercion, freely and wholeheartedly?
Yes.
We have.
Are you prepared to follow the path of marriage, to love and honor each other for as long as you both shall live?
Yes.
Are you prepared to accept children lovingly from God, bringing them up according to the law of Christ and His church?
Yes. I, Brandon, take you, Ann, to be my wife. I promise to be faithful to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love you and honor you for all the days of my life.
I, Ann, take you, Brandon, to be my husband. I promise to be faithful to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love you and to honor you all of the days of my life.
Well, you can turn around and face your family. This is our newly married couple. Well, dear people, I'm delighted to introduce for you Mr. and Mrs. Brandon and Ann Gartland.
Actually, yeah, we can do it at the base.
If you were to ask me at the beginning of someone's life what I would wish for them, I would say give them an Annie. Because having an Annie by your side, life doesn't have to be so hard. People always say your sister is your built-in best friend. Well, when she was holding me underwater in Cuca Lake, I didn't really believe that. But now, as we continue to grow in our adult lives, I cannot help but think, how lucky am I to have this girl as my built-in best friend. Annie has always been my constant. I still get sad thinking about the days we fought. The days she would physically beat me up and I would mentally beat her up. Because without Annie, there would be no Mara. Growing up, you were always in our corner, supporting each of us whether we thought we needed it or not. Growing up in a family of 8 made it easy to lean on each other. I now realize how much growing up beside you shaped me and how much of who I am was built from the shared laughs, shared fights, shared space, and somehow shared strength.
Jill and I are excited to welcome you to the family, Annie, partly because we're hoping that your future kids can teach our future kids a thing or two about sports. We're not exactly the athletic branch of the family. Now, Annie is one of those people who brightens up a room and simultaneously brings a sense of calm wherever she goes. She's thoughtful, genuinely caring, and very patient. And I mean unbelievably patient. Because who else could listen to Bran whine about how his back keeps hurting all the time, or how his 15-leg parlay somehow didn't hit, or that he needs another $1 at the bowling alley so he can play with the claw machine. Regardless of his quirks, you love and support him unconditionally, and for that I'm forever grateful. I like to joke that I taught him everything I knew about the sport, but the truth is he did it all himself. His work ethic, discipline, and commitment took him from the driveway to playing college basketball. And these are some of the qualities that continue to make him successful today. Now, if it wasn't obvious already, we all know Brandon loves sports. And like any self-respecting sports fan, he's not afraid of placing a bet from time to time. He'll study the odds, look at the stats, and completely convince himself that he's found a sure thing. Perhaps it's that meticulous nature that makes him a perfect profession for accounting. But unlike his nearly empty DraftKings account, he found the one thing that was never left to chance. So today I want to talk about the greatest bet my brother ever made. A few years ago, Bran opened up Hinge and took a chance on a first date with Anne. There were no guarantees, no expert predictions, and no point spreads. He simply saw someone incredibly special and decided she was worth the risk. And as it turns out, that was the smartest wager of his entire life. And Annie, you made a pretty good bet yourself. You're getting a loyal, caring, hardworking husband who would do absolutely anything for the people he loves. I had the privilege of calling Bran my teammate on and off the basketball court over the years, but it's even more special knowing he found a teammate that he'll have for the rest of his life. Watching the two of you together, it's obvious you've found exactly what everyone hopes to find in life: a best friend, a partner, and someone who makes every ordinary day better.
There were so many things that I have stressed to the kids about qualities that will help them in life, but in particular, there were two that I pointed out regularly, and I'm sure they'll remember. One was leadership, and the other was mental toughness. Annie was a natural in both of those things. It didn't take long for me to see it. I went on a field trip with Annie. She was in about 4th or 5th grade, and a boy challenged her to a race. That boy will remain nameless, but I'm sure many of you know who he is. Annie certainly remembers this, I'm sure. And I had no concerns. Annie was always super fast. Annie dusted her brothers on a regular basis, whether they'll admit it or not. And I knew she was going to beat this kid, no problem. So they raced, and of course, Annie did dust him. But as they got to the finish line, just past it, he gave her a good shove in the back, and she went down hard. And Dad, I'm like... But no, Annie popped right up. She was like, I'm not going to let that guy know I was hurt. She skinned her knee pretty good. She was definitely hurt, but there's no way he was going to know. And so I knew right then and there she was going to have plenty of toughness, and in particular, she had her mother's toughness. Annie really developed those leadership and mental toughness skills during her time at Siena University. Thank you, girls. It started a little shaky, though. After that first fall break, we weren't really sure she was going to head back, and frankly, neither were the coaches. But thankfully, Kat was at the bus station. Yes, Kat. Annie could not get on the bus with Kat there, and so she did, and she did all right. She did all right. She and those girls, they won one game that year. One game. But that group over there, and Annie Brennan, changed the culture. And now that team, that program, competes for MAC championships on a regular basis. And Annie was a 3-time captain, which I'm super proud of. She played through a broken wrist when she was a sophomore. She played through a torn meniscus her 5th year. There was no doubt that she had toughness and leadership at Siena.
In every stage of this crazy life, Annie has always held space for me. She stayed through all of it, not out of obligation, but out of love. She has always shown up without needing to be asked, came up with jokes when I needed to laugh, held silence while I needed to cry, and remained loyal without asking to be praised, but deserved it anyway. She is selfless without having to think twice, and she would give everything in exchange for nothing. Annie, you are living proof that there is a world of good people. You are rare. You are everything that a person hopes to find when life feels too heavy to carry alone. You have always been the person who makes people feel okay, even when they're not okay. So thank you, Annie. for loving me when I wasn't the easiest person to love, and for reminding me always that I never have to face this world alone. You're my middle of the night call, my did you eat today, my I'll be there in 10. You have held space for me without needing to understand every detail. It's showing up anyway, it's growing up together, it's sleeping in the same bed because the monsters from the TV can't get us if we're together. You're my favorite phone call, my safe place in human form, and I hope you know I do it all for you. You are the easiest person to look up to, admire, and aspire to be, and you have shown us all how important it is to be our own person and never let anyone try to change us. For the past 25 years, Annie has been my person, my biggest cheerleader, and the keeper of all my secrets.
Brand made the mistake of asking me to be his best man. After roasting me at my own wedding, I think it's about time I paid back the favor. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nate. I'm Brand's older brother. And you could probably tell we're related from our matching receding hairlines. Despite our competitive nature, that's a race I'm willing to let him win.
When Annie told me about a boy named Brandon, who soon came to be Brandon, I was hesitant. No offense. But who in the world could deserve the love that Annie has to offer? And then I met him, and I knew.
But then along came Brandon. Pat said last night that Annie stole Brandon. Brandon stole Annie from me. As a father, you hope your daughter finds someone who truly sees her value, someone who respects her, supports her, and makes it lighter and happier. Brandon, from the moment we met you, we knew it was you. I'll admit, as a CPA myself, it didn't hurt that he's a CPA. He likes spreadsheets. We can talk about busy season stories with Matt and Mara. It's kind of cool, numbers guys, you know. But beyond that, I've admired your character, your calm way, your work ethic, and the way you love our daughter. You two make an extraordinary team. Two kind and talented people who are more complete with each other in your lives, who bring great joy to our family. As Mike said, we're so happy the two of you brought our families together. For advice, I say one thing. Brandon, first of all, do not challenge Annie to a foot race. Especially if you want to keep your self-esteem. But on a more serious note, stay best friends. Remember that you're on the same side when time gets tough. And continue to be each other's biggest fan.
I'm still relatively new to being married, but I'd like to offer you some parting words of advice. Enjoy the little moments. With every grand life event, there are several thousand little treasures along the way. These are some of my favorite parts about the journey of marriage. It's about the couch debrief after a long day of work, or sitting down to a delicious Applebee's 2 for $25 combo on a random Tuesday, or even just cherishing the simplicity of a good hug. So embrace it all, because it's in these moments that you will fall further in love together.
Now, as overused and as corny as it sounds, I find it perfectly applicable to how I feel today. While we all had the honor of growing up with her, Brandon, you now have the privilege of growing old with her. And I hope you enjoy every second of it, just as we did.
When they wanted me to get up here, I didn't know I'd have to follow these three speakers. So I'll keep mine short. Really, the first thing I want to do is to thank Annie and Brandon for allowing all of us gathered here to be a part of your very special day. We are all wishing the two of you a lifetime of joy, love, and happiness on this your wedding day and as you begin your lives together. Congratulations to both of you and best wishes for a long, happy, and fulfilling life together. And now, if you will all please bow your head as we say grace. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now for the moment that we have all been gathered here for, I need everybody to do me a favor and stand to your feet. We got to give them the proper welcome. Everybody up on your feet. I need everybody to do me a favor. Start making some noise right now as we introduce the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Brendan and Ann Gartland.
It's great to see everybody here tonight. I thought Annie was going to do a jig, but it didn't take her very long. Seeing so many people we love in one room is a gift, and we're here and grateful that you're sharing this day with us.
And as I look around the room tonight, a room full of people who love her, it's clear her presence has shaped many lives. So I think I speak for all of us when I say there are so many things we love about Annie.
It feels incredibly special to celebrate the most important day of my life in a place that has been the setting for so many meaningful moments. Now it feels difficult to put into word our next round of thank yous because I don't know if words can adequately convey how grateful Brandon and I are for our families who've shaped us into the people who found each other and are now standing up here today. To the Gartlands, from the very first time I met Mike and Irene, I have never felt so quickly welcomed into a family. For those of you who do not know this story, Brandon introduced me to his parents at GartFest 2022. A family reunion for all of the extended Gartlands. I remember meeting so many different family members who would introduce themselves and follow up with, I hope you're not getting too overwhelmed right now by all of us. Little did they know, being around a big and loving family was exactly what I needed to feel right at home. Mike and Irene, thank you for all of your love and support you've given to Brandon and me, not only today, but for the last 4 years. And I guess for Brandon, we could say the last 28 years. Thank you for creating Brandon and shaping him into the man I'm now lucky enough to call my husband. We love you both so much.
Sisterhood was never always perfect, but it's permanent, and that's something I'll never take for granted. I read this poem and I instantly thought of our lives, so I wanted to share it today. Our childhoods are so entangled, it would be impossible to undo. Though our branches grow apart, I'm happy my roots are planted next to you. We may move in different directions, but someone couldn't part us if they tried, because while we may seem different now, we will truly never leave each other's lives. For everyone who knows Annie and Brandon, they know they share a common sense of humor, as weird as my sisters and I may think it is, an understanding of patience and timing, and a love for adventure and creating new memories. Brandon may be the first person to understand the importance of Annie's timeline. He understands the love she has for her family, her friends, and any animal that walks on Earth, even though he still doesn't let her get a cat. And he understands the love that she deserves. Seeing Annie's eyes light up when she speaks about Brandon made me feel confident enough to say my sister has found her person, her biggest cheerleader, and the keeper of all her secrets. They are two halves that make a whole, and I cannot be more excited to see the future they create together. Brandon. I will not give you all the credit because we all know Annie, but it's no coincidence that once you came into her life, you saw her sparkle shine a little brighter than before. I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for loving my sister, for supporting her in every way possible, for making her laugh with even the smallest of gestures, for loving Taco Bell just as much as I do, and for staying true to her with every decision made. But more importantly, thank you for taking over the role as her best friend. I can't even be mad, because Brandon, you love her in all the right ways. In all the ways I could have hoped a man would. I used to get sad when Annie was spending so much time with Brandon. I was scared that I would be replaced and lose my role as her best friend. And I've witnessed the way that he loves her. I realized he wasn't replacing me, he was completing her. I visibly witnessed the peace that you bring into Annie's life, especially when she's mad at one of her sisters. But that's besides the point. Brandon, I can tell you, you're one lucky man. She will never fail you. She will never stop loving you. And she will always show up for you, no matter how hard life gets. As I have watched the love story of Annie and Brandon unfold, I have learned that love doesn't need to be asked for. You shouldn't have to beg for it or earn it. You should never have to prove to someone that you are worth their time or attention. When you're looking at the right person to love you, they just give it. Annie and Brandon have repeatedly proven that when you're with the right person, no matter the time or the place, they will love you, unconditionally. I feel comfort knowing she gets to marry a man like you. And thank you for showing her what true love feels like.
Today is an incredibly special day because my little brother gets to marry his soulmate. We've come a long way from our basement Nerf gun battles, Call of Duty marathons, legendary double sleepovers, as well as a couple house parties that we had when Mom and Dad were out of town. Sorry about that. But growing up, there was one thing Brandon and I probably spent more time doing than anything else, and that was playing basketball. And, while I enjoyed blocking her shots in the driveway, it became pretty obvious that wasn't going to last forever. Somewhere along the way, those roles reversed, and eventually, I had the privilege of sharing the court with him on the varsity team. I use the word sharingly pretty loosely because while Brandon was a starter as a sophomore, my responsibilities leaned a little more towards supplying quality hydration. As a senior water boy.
Annie always set the tone for our family. She was the trailblazer, the example, and occasionally a parent. Whether she wanted to be or not. She's always had an incredible drive. She was that kid that when she was like 10 years old, she was trying to figure out where she was going to go to college. Yeah, 10 years old. Yeah. Kristen and I had the pleasure and joy of watching Annie grow up, excel in the classroom, on the soccer field, and the lacrosse fields. But all through those years of high school and college, Annie was the person that many friends, family, and teammates would rely on for words of advice, a shoulder to lean on. She was destined to help people in her career, and now she's a clinical psychologist, which means now officially she understands why all of us act the way we do. When you talk to her later, she will be analyzing you. I often ask her for advice, as parenting advice. I ask her, did I say the right thing? I'm not really sure. The tides have definitely turned. But I really appreciate Annie with me all the time through those difficult parenting challenges with Ella and Maeve. But what has always impressed me the most, though, isn't just her accomplishments, it's her heart. Annie has a remarkable ability. She makes people feel heard, supported, and cared for. She brings strength and kindness together in a way that makes everyone around her better. And I couldn't be more proud to be her dad.
And now to my parents, Mom and Dad. Today would not have been possible if it were not for the two of you. As you know, my brain is constantly going. And in one of the many moments of reflection I had leading up to this day, I realized that the love story I'm living out was inspired by yours. Thank you for showing me what it's like to not only choose your best friend, but your teammate for life. The way in which the two of you have navigated life as a united team has set the example for what I looked for in a partner. Someone who will challenge you, always have your back, and enhance your life by simply being by your side. Thank you for shaping me into the person that I am today and for loving Brandon as much as I love him. Thank you for the countless ways you've supported us as we've navigated the trials and tribulations of adulthood and ensuring we felt loved and celebrated every step of the way. Thank you for all the time you've spent helping me with planning, organizing, and designing the wedding day that I've always wanted, and dealing with stressed Annie because we know she's not always fun. We love you both so much.
So could everyone please raise your glasses to Annie and Brandon. May your love continue to grow. May your happiness always outweigh the odds, and may you spend the rest of your lifetime winning together. Cheers.
So please, let's raise a glass as I have a little Irish blessing for Annie and Brandon. May your home always be too small to hold all your friends. May you build your family table with love and room for everyone. That's that groom. May love and laughter light your days and warm your hearts. May you walk through life side by side with patience in hard times and joy in the good ones. And may your hearts always find their way home to one another in the big celebrations, the quiet mornings, and every ordinary day in between. To Annie and Brandon.
You want some of this?
Everybody
Annie and Brandon, thank you for letting me play a role in your beautiful day. I'm so happy for the both of you. Now everyone raise a glass. Cheers to a new chapter with a new sense of love and appreciation for the life in front of you. I love you both with my whole heart. Cheers.
Now, for everyone who's traveled near and far to celebrate with us tonight, which I know there are so many of you in this room, thank you for being here. Each and every one of you have impacted our lives in one way or another, and we feel so grateful to have every one of you in this room tonight. So now, before we get the party started, I also want to thank the 4 tables that are on the dance floor who will have to get up shortly. So we appreciate you guys and can't wait to party with you for the rest of the night. Cheers.